So today we're going to talk about bright line eating on the go and other emergencies, staying bright while traveling through life. I'm going to give you some tips, tricks, and hacks to create a bright line eating program that allows you to move through life when things are out of the ordinary. We're going to learn how to develop a plan for traveling emergencies that threaten to throw you into the ditch. Now, please note, I have been asked by Lynn Colston to say the following. This is, if you're not aware of this, she is general counsel for Bright Line Eating. So she's not just a Bright Line eater and a community director, she's also a lawyer. She said, please include this. I am not a Bright Line Eating representative, and I do not speak on behalf of Bright Line Eating. The materials presented are based on my personal experience and the experiences of others that have been shared with me. So I just want to make sure you know that up front, that this is just me having a good time. And I wanted to invite you all to come along with me. So we'll go ahead and get started. So this is my introduction for myself. So my weight loss journey started when I was a young teenager, and I read this to my mother. She's here. Mom, raise your hand and wave. Say hi. She doesn't follow Bright Line Eating, but she follows me. So I appreciate that she's here. So I started this journey as a young teenager. I remember taking my mom's Dexatrim. She didn't know that till 2 days ago. I didn't like how it made me feel, so I didn't do it ever again. And I remember feeling chubby, but I don't think that was accurate. I think I was just a normal kid. I developed before most girls my age, and by the time I got to high school, I didn't feel as self-conscious about my body, or at least I was comfortable at the level of self-consciousness I had at the time, or at least I thought I was comfortable with it. But you know what it's like. You've been there. Your story is probably similar to mine. So I graduated from high school and I married my first husband. Okay, so pictures. At the roller skating rink in Pocatello, when I had just given myself my first haircut. This is my senior year in high school. I was on the drill team, and that's my senior picture that's in the yearbook. I hated that picture. Isn't it beautiful? What was I thinking? There's a whole bunch of years missing here. This is me after I found food recovery, and then this is food recovery, and this is somewhere in between. And then these are also in between. This is after I quit doing food recovery and I did standard weight loss. And then this is after I did standard weight loss and I wasn't doing anything, no food recovery, no weight loss. I was doing whatever went into my mouth whenever I wanted it, with whomever I wanted it to be. And so that was my story. And then this is November, before I found Bright Line Eating, and we went to Disneyland. I really wish I could go back in time and do this trip over again now. It was so painful to be there and be as heavy as I was. And that's me, San Antonio at Christmas time. So that's my pictures. So I graduated from high school and I married my first husband that same week. I thought I was so grown up. We moved to Arizona from Idaho, and I gained 10 pounds that first summer. It freaked me out. I just didn't know what to do about it. But I didn't really do anything other than work out with my husband. He was a bodybuilder, and so anyways, we ate pretty healthy. But I just kind of was at that higher weight. I went to Weight Watchers. Oh, let's see. So then for the next few years, I gained 10 more pounds. So I'm now up 20 pounds from my high school weight. And I went to Weight Watchers for the first time, and I adjusted my weight goal. So in high school, I weighed 113, and then my first Weight Watchers goal was 129. And so I hit that goal, but I couldn't maintain it. I just could not maintain it. So we fast forward all the way to when I found food recovery. I got an email from Amazon saying, you might be interested in this book based on your order history. And it was a book on sugar addicts recovery. And I was like, oh yeah, I knew that I was addicted to sugar. I knew that. This was 1999. And I bought 5 books on sugar addiction. And I spent winter break. I work at a college. I spent winter break studying up on how to overcome sugar addiction. I was going to kick it, and I was going to do it then. So then I started this program. They had an online community. This was the year 2000. I mean, we're talking cutting edge, really. And I met people online, and I was part of their leadership team, and I went to conferences with them. They were my people. And I lost, like I said, I lost to that picture in the desert. That's Death Valley. And I was happy. I was good. I didn't have a word for it. I didn't know it was bright, but I was. But then menopause hit. And while I was bright, I didn't have 4 bright lines. So there was a lot of, we would say that I had really wobbly lines. So then I just got fatter and fatter, and I got disillusioned, and I left that program. I left the community. I grieved the loss of my community. And I went and I did a weight loss challenge at my gym locally. And my team won. I'm very competitive. My team won, and I was so pleased because I had lost 35 pounds and I weighed 160. And I was fit. I was working out like a fiend. I was going to boot camp at 5 o'clock in the morning, working out for an hour. I was counting all my calories. I was doing all that crazy stuff. And as soon as boot camp ended for the season, because we didn't do it in the wintertime, I tried to maintain it. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And the weight was a battle. And then I had a life event that just like totally threw me out, totally rocked my world. I got depressed, and I threw my rules out the window, and I just was like, this isn't worth it. I'm not doing it. And I gained all my weight back. All my beautiful clothes didn't fit. It was horrible. And I spent about 4 years in the ditch, just wandering around, trying to string together bright days. Every day I would write out what I was going to do that day. And it was no sugar, gluten-free, because I didn't have that line. Oh, and I was like, I'll have stevia because that's not sugar, and doing all that. So I spent 4 years in the ditch, couldn't string a bright day together. And then in 2020, I was on a Facebook group, and somebody was looking for a diet they wanted to do, and someone suggested bright line eating. I'd never heard of that, so I went and checked it out. It was like, oh, well, this seems very familiar. So I signed up for the 14-day challenge thinking, let me just check it out. I went through all the getting started, and I was like, I am not doing that. I've been that weird person who has to like order special at the restaurant and all that. I was not doing that. And then I had also decided that my lifelong medical exemption from fasting for religious purposes had expired. So I decided I was going to learn how to fast, and for religious purposes. So I was fasting. It was February. I was fasting, and I had just decided I wasn't doing bright line eating. I got a very clear, distinct answer. This was God's plan for me, and I couldn't deny it. It was just like, okay, well, the answer was, I've given you a plan that is your plan. Why would I give you something different? Okay, I went and I pushed that button. I'm ready to start. And I've been a crystal baser since then. I have not broken my lines once since then. So, okay, so that's my introduction. And I want you to know that I absolutely love to travel. So today we're going to talk a little bit about, we're really going to just talk about how I handle it. And you take it, what I have to say, and you bring it into what works for you, and how, let it spark some ideas. So we're going to focus on how living a busy, full life is supported by keeping bright, whatever season of life you're in. We're going to talk about traveling, and we're going to talk about emergencies that pop up. I'm going to talk about 3 main areas: planning, gear, and food. And this is just a journey through a few aspects of staying bright while on the go. I'm just going to we're going to cover the high points, and I really hope that it gives you some meaning in your life too. Okay, so what's your superpower? Are you able to leap tall buildings in a single bound? Or is your superpower like mine? Planning. Maybe you have an untapped superpower that you don't know about yet, but planning really is, it's my superpower. I love I love planning. And one day, okay, so whenever I travel, I do a plan. There has been research done that says that people enjoy the planning of vacation as much or more than the actual vacation itself. And if you've ever planned a trip, you think about all the things you're going to do and you have so much fun in your mind before you ever do them. So one day I realized that my life is like that. If I treat my life like a trip, like a vacation, like a plan, I could plan ahead and enjoy those benefits as well. So one of the benefits that I experience is I'm able to relax and enjoy the trip. I'm able to relax and enjoy the experience. My husband and I have argued on many continents about feeding Terri. That's probably been the only thing that we can't seem to agree on during a vacation. And it's not that we don't agree, it's that he wants to take care of me and I haven't planned ahead. I haven't given him enough to work with. And so we get into, what's it called? The danger zone. We get into the danger zone and it's too late then for me to pull up and fly right. So we were between Albuquerque and someplace in New Mexico, and we were in the middle of nowhere. It was mealtime. We had some emergency along the way, and I had no food. And it was ugly. We ended up stopping at Denny's and getting me something to eat. But I don't want that in my life. I want to enjoy the trip, and I want those with me to enjoy it too. So my mantra is food comes first. And that really is it. If I don't have my food in place, I lose my spirituality. I lose my emotional stability and my physical. I haven't had heartburn since the first week of doing Bright Line Eating. So that's really important. So don't leave things up to chance. Let's see what's my next. So if you have a busy life, planning what you're going to have, treating it like your life is a journey and it's an adventure. So let's plan ahead and let's do the things that bring us peace in the moment. Travel any out of the ordinary place, out of the usual routine places your life takes. That could just be going to the next town for the day. It could be going all the way to Australia and going on the Great Barrier Reef snorkeling. It's amazing. Also emergencies. By definition, some things just cannot be planned for. And we're going to talk about these things. Okay, so you find out what your options are. Are you going camping? Are you going on a cruise? Are you going to a conference? Everything has a different set of options, and know before you go what they're going to be. Find out if you can have a fridge and a microwave in your room, stay in a place that has kitchen facilities, and then you can ask about the options in the different locations that you'll be. I went on a cruise and I signed up beforehand to get a special meal plan, and they catered to me like I was royalty. It was awesome. And I'm going to tell you that traveling today is so much easier than it was 20 years ago. I mean, everywhere you go, people really do want to cater to your dietary needs. So play on that.
Some of them, ours are not that weird.
Well, that's true. That's true. We just eat regular, like whole food. Yeah, it sounds weird to other people, but it's not. And grocery services, have groceries delivered. Treat yourself. Some people treat themselves to having their groceries delivered at home. Like I said, your life is an adventure. Treat yourself. And coordinate with your companions. It's okay to say, I have this need. I'm willing to do this, but I need to do this. You don't have to be the Queen of Sheba. I don't know who that is, but you don't have to be that. My when we were in Australia, my sister-in-law said, "Oh, don't be so precious." Now, in Australian, that's a slam. I thought it was sweet. But no, and I was like, you know something, I am precious, and I'm going to be precious, even if even if it's not, even if it's a derogatory term in another culture. So I've got 3 models that I want to talk to you about. And some of this came from boot camp. So boot camp is a great resource for a lot of this information, and I'm just giving you a little taste of it. So pack, one is pack breakfast only. I pack breakfast pretty much everywhere I go. That's kind of like my standard. You start the day out bright, and you can conquer the day anywhere you go if you can start bright. Examples of foods that travel well, and then, you know, when my mom picks me up from the airport, we frequently go to the grocery store before we go anywhere else. So I get my food and it's in place. Food comes first. And then eat lunch and dinner. In this model, eat lunch and dinner at restaurants, or at your kitchen facility, or with your family, or whatever. But this is a great model to give you an opportunity to be more social with your food. So we went to out at a steakhouse with some friends in a different town from us, and we treated them because they drove a long ways to pick something up for us. And I ordered a salad, and I said, I need a salad, no croutons, no cheese, vegetables only, and put the whatever on the side. I think I had oil and vinegar on the side, and I was just going to eat the vinegar. So that's what I ordered. I was responsible. Everybody at the table was like fine with it, no big deal. So out comes the salad covered in chopped egg. And I was like, I looked at it, and I had this whole committee going on in my head. We had a big old discussion about it. I was like, no, I'm that person. I'm not going to eat this. I'm not going to give up steak for egg. I'm not doing it. So I said, I'm really sorry, but I can't eat this. Can you bring me a new salad? And he was like, well, we didn't put any cheese or croutons on it. I said, oh, I know, but egg is not a vegetable. And he's like, oh, you're right.
Unfortunately, there was a problem recording Terry's mic at this time, so I will just read the slides for you. So there's 3 models. Model 1 is pack breakfast only. Example of foods that travel well are packets of oats or other hot cereal, nuts in a pre-measured pack, roasted soy nuts or chickpeas, cans or snack packs of juice-packed fruit, etc. Plan with the situation in mind. Eat lunch and dinner in restaurants, order protein and produce, be willing to pay extra to get your needs met, and tip well. Then we have model number 2, pack all your food. Weigh and measure all your meals in containers, label them according to meal, maybe even according to day, and it works best with a trip where you can bring a cooler. Or bring containers of food in bulk that can be weighed and measured after you arrive as needed. Model number 3 is best for seasoned travelers. Take no food with you, or at the very least, emergency foods such as nuts for protein. If your identity is that you will go to any lengths to find a bright meal, this option works well. If that's not you, then use this option sparingly. Be bold and vocal to get your needs met. The general guidelines are to bring a digital food scale with you, create a go bag or an emergency meal kit, and a contingency plan. Take non-food parts of your program with you, like your journal, meditation practice, food journal, etc. Keep your connections with your circle of support. Tend to the butterfly garden of joy. Plan for PECS, post-event collapse syndrome. Get help with your planning. Superheroes, sidekicks, and masterminds. Study the bootcamp modules on travel. Review the support section of Brightline Eating for the topics you have questions about. Ask the Brightline Eating community for help. Help yourself. Keep a record of your plan for future reference. Submit a request for a question to Brightline Eating or for long travel days for help in planning your meal timing.
She had 2 full lunches. that day because she ate about every 4 hours. So the idea here was that she didn't get into the danger zone. And when you get into the danger zone, then you're going to binge or go off plan, or someone's going to offer you an MF. And I'm going to tell you that it's probably even more important that you follow this on the way home. My experience is that you can stay bright until your willpower is depleted if you're not doing the things that support your program on vacation. Once that willpower is depleted, it's really hard not to fall into the effect. So, okay, so that's, I love this. And I will be doing this the next time I travel, because we're leaving the house at 2 a.m. And I can do it. I can do it. I have a plan. Okay, so then the next thing I want to talk about in planning is the WOOP. If we had more time, we would actually go through the WOOP together. This is an amazing tool. I want you to know. In fact, I'm going to share with you. So the first time I heard about the WOOP was in Brightline Eating, but I've heard about it in multiple places since then. It's covered in boot camp. There's an accountability call on April 9th where Lyndon walked everybody through using the WOOP. I actually downloaded the app and made a WOOP for that day. And it was like so energizing. So James Clear says that people think that they need to get motivated when what they really need to get is clarity. And the WOOP will give you clarity. So this is the WOOP. So this is what the app looks like. It's blue with a white cloud. You download it. There's also a website, Whoop Wildlife. Yes, thank you. This is what it looks like when it starts, and it tells you to you click on the little plus here, you relax, take a quiet moment. Just let's get started. You choose one of 3 domains. I chose, this was the one I did at the airport yesterday, so that I could take screenshots for you. But it's really been helpful. So I chose health, 24 hours, and then what's your wish? So I typed in a bright day of travel, and what's your outcome? So like I said, it kind of walks you through that. And then I put down, I wanted to arrive at the Airbnb relaxed, happy, and engaged with others. So imagine what that feels like, what that looks like. And then identify your obstacle, what's going to stand in the way from you fulfilling your wish. I wrote down feeling anxious, managing all the things during travel, so that it has you imagine the obstacle. And then you make an if-then plan. So what can you do to overcome the obstacle? So I wrote down BFF, breathe, feel my feelings, find my feet, take a moment to pause. So your if obstacle, then action plan. So if feeling anxious, managing all things during travel, then I will BFF, take a moment to pause. And I did, and I've been doing that. I actually did that on the stairs earlier today. That's been so helpful, and I wouldn't have even thought of it had I not done a WOOP. So use the tools that we've got. That's a good one. Okay, so systematize, another James Clear thing. I really like James Clear, Atomic Habits. I've been following him long before I followed Brightline Eating. So Brightline Eating was like, yes, that's my jam. So you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So if you really want to be successful, you're going to create systems that allow things to become automatic. And so automaticity is our friend. So systematize. So the biggest thing I want to talk about is food factory, meal prepping. So when I started meal prepping, I went with the whole, make a plan, have your food, go shopping one day, buy it all, go home the next day, carve out hours to put it all together. Am I selling it? Do you want to do that? Oh, don't want to do that. Some people do. And I'm going to tell you that if you enjoy that, hey, go for it. But that really stresses me out, and it's not something I want to do. But if you're going to do it, play some great music. I like to listen to Saturday's Warrior soundtrack because it reminds me of being a kid. And listen to blogs. I've probably listened to over 100 blogs just meal prepping. It's a great time to let Susan Pierce Thompson teach you about how to do this. Listen to an audiobook, something that you only get to listen to at certain times, and that could be one of them. You can also prep with a friend. I've had a friend, we meal prep, not all day, but yeah, we've done that. Multiple mini sessions. So this is how I do it. So for years, it's been my goal that every day I prep one thing. And I find that if I prep one thing a day, after about 2 or 3 days, I have like everything for a meal, all for multiple meals. And then I can do something like grocery shopping will be my meal prep one day. I won't actually usually prep that day. Some people call that solo batch cooking. So like if you're making your oatmeal for the week, make it in a big pot and then divide it out into containers. When I open up my yogurt container, it all gets divided into containers until the yogurt container is empty, and I've got all those little containers. So this is this is right here, this is Ezekiel cereal, and these are like rice cakes. I'm not eating rice cakes right now, but I did for a while. And then this is yogurt, and I don't know what else there, but this is, some of my preps. So here's, I prepped on the weekend. So like Saturday morning, I'll prep while I'm making my breakfast. I'll prep whatever breakfast components need to be prepped. And I'll do that for 5, 6, 7, 8 days, whatever. A lot of those things will just go in the freezer so that they don't go bad. My fruit will go in the freezer. And so this picture has some frozen fruit and then some fruit that's thawing. And then these are my lunches. Remember I mentioned that I like vegetables with hummus, and these are really fun containers that are all divided. But this was a weekend where I prepped for breakfast, and then I prepped for lunch, and then I prepped for dinner while I was making breakfast, lunch, and dinner at different times over the weekend. And by the end of the weekend, I had all my meals for the week. And it didn't feel like I did any extra work because I just made the meals I was eating that weekend while I had the time. And I don't have that kind of time during the week. So I'm going to tell you that the magic formula is to meal prep for the next day after dinner. So when you get done making dinner and you've cleaned up the kitchen from dinner, now you get to meal prep for the next day. You're not hungry. You're generally a little more relaxed. And if you're just getting tomorrow's food ready, then it's not taxing. And if you have been batch cooking along the way, you're really just measuring the food and putting it in the containers so that tomorrow you don't even have to think about your meals until you meal prep for the next day. That is the magic formula. And I know some people in this room who will agree with me. Know who you are. Oh, and we're at time. Okay, so gear. Choose the right tool for the job. Do you like glass? One of these people who don't like to reheat their food in plastic. I'm one of those people, but I don't care if other people have to reheat in whatever is available. Or plastic. I have, as you can see, I think that I have a container addiction, but I have it. I'm in recovery. My recovery is actually spread out into containers as well. So I have enough for my needs, and I am able to resist purchasing more usually. But and I find that I'll use a certain set for a while, and then I'll go and use a different set for a while. I like options and choices too. And then bags and coolers. So this is a can of soda water, seltzer water. And I just put it in the picture so you could get kind of an idea of what these bags look like. So this is the big crew size bag that airline pilots get. This is a medium sized bag, and this is a small bag. This will hold 3 meals of my regular everyday food. This will hold 2 meals, whether breakfast, lunch, or lunch and dinner. And then I call this the annex. It will hold 1 meal, and it folds up nicely and gets stored in the top of my lunch bag. And then I can just pull a meal out and go someplace with it. So this is my personal item when I travel. And it usually just has food in it. You can also do different coolers. You can pack a cooler in your luggage so that you can pack things that you can't take through TSA. Okay, let's see. We're almost done. So emergencies. So this is one of my mantras. It is a quote that is attributed to Dwight D. Eisenhower. He is, so plans are nothing, planning is everything. And basically what that is, that you can plan all day long, but when you to the middle of the war, the battle, you have to be able to react to whatever comes up. And this is what he said. There is a very great distinction, because when you are planning for an emergency, you must start with this one thing. The very definition of emergency is that it is unexpected. Therefore, it is not going to happen the way you are planning. And like I said, this is kind of like my life motto. I love to plan. Planning just brings me great joy. And then I have years of experience of planning and then going and doing nothing that was on the plan. But what that does is it helps me to have kind of like a home base. I know where I started from, and that grounds me and gives me flexibility. I know it sounds a little counterintuitive, but it really works. I know that. So if I don't plan my day out, I feel like I'm not getting anything done, because I don't know what I was going to work on, but I just know that whatever I'm doing wasn't what needed to be done. I make a plan. I know exactly what's not getting done when I get pulled away to do something else. Well, food is kind of the same way. I have a plan. I know exactly what things I can, where the flexibility is. And I pretty much, breakfast and lunch, they pretty much go as planned every day. Dinner is often more flexible because I want to have that flexibility with my husband, because he's like so opposite of me. He doesn't know what he's doing tomorrow because it's not here yet. And so that, like I said, that you got to find what works for you. And yes, every day I plan, I commit my food to my buddy, and I always make sure that my dinner has flexibility, that I'm not breaking my commitment, but it gives me enough room to adjust. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So planning is everything, but plans are nothing. So I want to leave that with you. And this is not the end. It's the end of my presentation, but I just want you to know that systematizing things, tools, the different gear that you have in your life, and practice. That's how you get to Carnegie Hall, right? Those are the keys to having a bright life on the go. So take what you like from this and leave the rest, and have a bright life.